and welcome back to the ABCs of ERP and Beyond podcast, where we break down the complexities of ERP for businesses that are looking to perhaps move on from a basic solution. Maybe you're not even on an ERP, or you're looking to jump from something like QuickBooks. Well, that's where we come in. So if you're exploring what an ERP system is and what it can offer, then hopefully this is the podcast for you. And this week we are again changing things up, globe-trotting a little bit more now, because today's episode, my co-host Nirav Shah is currently in Austria, in Vienna, attending Directions EMEA 2024, and is hot off the press after seeing lots of talks and sessions about Business Central and the new exciting progression that Microsoft is putting in Business Central and some new features in the pipeline. So today's episode will be diving into some of the more important ones, or the ones that have stood out during Nirav's time in Vienna. So Nirav, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. And how crazy is this? I'm 1 hour ahead of you this time.
Yeah.
Usually doing this in different, we always do this in different time zones, but this is the first time that I'm ahead of you, actually, because you're usually ahead of me. But no, yeah, beautiful Vienna. Like, this is Austria is a great country. And really glad I had a chance to come here and experience this great city and Directions EMEA, more importantly. By the way, got my shirt on, Directions
You're
for
repping it.
Partners,
Yeah.
shaping the future for Directions Dynamics.
Is that what you're
Uh,
doing, or is that what they're doing? I'm not sure.
I mean, they're technically doing it, and we're executing
Okay.
the
Right.
plan. But it's Directions EMEA is a great conference for partners. And by the way, this is a partners only conference. It's not really for end customers. So Directions puts on a couple events during the year. They have a sister partnership in North America that they call Directions for North America. We were there this past I want to say May, May, and then they have Days of Knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
where they get consultants and developers talk about new things that are happening in Business Central, different integrations, functionality, spreading knowledge essentially. And those are more
Yep.
micro events that happen. I mean, globally. There's in Slovenia. That happen in, I think, the UK. They're doing it in Poland. Like, they do it everywhere, and
Mm-hmm.
just different dates. Um, and this one, Directions for EMEA, is like their flagship conference.
Mm-hmm.
It's we We're Microsoft heavily sponsors and has number of sessions that are Microsoft led.
Yep.
We get everybody from the top from Microsoft. Mike Morton was there. Um, all the principal engineers mainly are there. Product owners come there, and it's really a good conference to see the direction Microsoft is taking Business Central. And by the way, this is primarily focused on Business Central. It started to expand out to Power Platform, a little bit of CRM. I don't see much yet. Power Automate, and it's for the ISV community. So there will be an expo like on Tuesday night, where we meet a bunch of ISVs out there. And then those ISVs kind of stay in their booth. They have their booths there and stuff like that, and they have special ISV meeting rooms where you could have one-on-one conversations with ISVs that you want to talk about different opportunities, customers, issues, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then in the conference center itself, there's sessions going on. There's like 18 to, I think, 25 concurrent sessions every hour for 3 whole days.
Whoa, that's a lot of news.
Yeah, that's a lot of news. And
We've only got 45 minutes, so you better have chosen some top ones.
We'll do a single sentence for each. For each
Go.
but the mornings, every morning, there's a keynote. Microsoft is basically talking about direction the product's going in, what they see as a future, partners, promotions that partners should be aware of, um, and news on how quickly the product is growing in the SMB space. They have keynotes from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I would say Monday and Tuesday are probably the most important keynotes. Microsoft
Right.
dominates the stage, and then Friday, sorry, Tuesday and Wednesday, Wednesday and Thursday are the Microsoft keynotes, and then Friday is where they have a community keynote. So you maybe get one Microsoft representative that comes on and does a conversation. This year we had Donna Sarka. She is like she's really up there in the Microsoft corporate side on Copilot. So she gave a really fun um, keynote. But then there'd be other partners that talk about, and this year the theme was Copilot. So the other partners came on and talked about, well, how did Copilot help them in their business, right, internally or a specific customer project. So it was nice to hear some ways that some partners have started to embrace Copilot and internally. And there's a couple actually use case examples that they implemented Copilot for Business Central for customers. We'll talk about that. But this year, I think more than any year so far that I've seen, last year was a little bit of Copilot. This year was all Copilot. Because last year was in Lyon.
Well, there's a surprise.
Yeah, exactly. Last year was in Lyon, right? And we were there last year, and they were talking about it, and they, made a big noise that this is going to be the future, right? Start getting on it now. And then this year was showing, okay, what Microsoft has done behind the scenes with Copilot now. And let me tell you, it's cutting edge stuff. Microsoft has invest so much. This is not a fad. Like, there's some, you know, technologies and software solutions that come out that kind of becomes a fad and doesn't go anywhere. This is here to stay. And this is going to create so much automation, I feel like. And there's examples that Microsoft gave, right? And we'll talk about some of that, but it was all Copilot. And this new concept that's part of Copilot is called agents.
Okay.
And agents, it's like the ability to have AI work on behalf of the company and essentially automatically take orders and get intelligent on how to bring the data of orders that come in, let's say online, directly into Business Central, either as sales quotes or sales orders. Like there's nobody there. No one has to do a step to commit and create those orders in the system. These agents are out there continuously looking for orders and an inbox, and it brings it in, and you see historical audit trail of what the agent is doing. So it's really an interesting concept that can be expanded in different areas of the system. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But I guess a big news out of Directions EMEA, outside of Copilot, which I don't know if it was a secret at all, there's about 40,000 Business Central customers online right now. That's how quickly Business Central Cloud is growing.
40,000 customers. Yeah, that's a lot of growth. Because I think it was only was it last year that there was the big announcement that it's now just over 30,000.
Yeah.
And so it's like a 25% growth.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Yeah. And they're not seeing this stopping anytime soon. And that was big news out there. 40,000, and I think it really got stable. Business Central really got stable. I want to say version 16. Okay, prior to that, it was still a little shaky. It was basically NAV, right?
Yep.
Just on the cloud, and there was slowness. There was issues with the code. You had to convert a lot of the Cal code to AL code, and those days are done. Like the future for Business Central has started, and they are rapidly leveraging their position now. All the hard work that Microsoft's put in the back end to make full ERP products accessible. I think it's great value for the money, and all the new features that they're putting into it, I think is just cutting edge. It's cutting edge stuff, and customers just get really, really good functionality on a Business Central environment. It was really nice to see that. But 40,000 customers, um, big news, and to me
Mm,
that shows that my that it's not a small product in Microsoft's eyes anymore.
hmm
This is an actual meaningful solution that no one's batting an eye. It's producing results where Microsoft cares,
hmm
and you could see it by the growth out there.
I wonder if we'll be here in 12 months' time with one of the points being it's now 50,000 customers worldwide.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it definitely could be, and some of the new stuff that they're bringing out, I could see it growing even faster. That's the scary part, Peter. It could grow faster in some of these some new functionality. They're bringing in new modules, like full new modules they're building right now that could open up like a whole different industry, like multiple industries, big industries for customers to jump onto Business Central.
Hmm, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. You would have thought at this time that most of the core modules, major modules, are in. Um, so to hear that there's kind of the main infrastructure development still working, because it's easy to say, well, there's now like a push to the marketplace and more supplementary modules for
Hmm.
Business Central. But interesting to hear that there's still a lot of work going on to
Yeah.
have core features still be developed or invented.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for example, big news, another advancement, I would say, um, in Business Central, where we got more information this time in Directions EMEA. We saw a demo of this. Is There's a new module called Subscription Management.
Right. Okay.
Full new module they built from the ground up, and I think it's more they bought an ISV. I'm not
Right.
100% sure which one. I think they bought an ISV and then they kind of tweaked it. I think usually that's how this happens when there's a new
hmm
module introduced. But it's the ability now to take companies that maybe do contract work, like legal, like lawyers. It could be house cleaners or janitorial services, or it could be lawn care companies. It could be other companies that have this subscription type business, and they need an ERP system to manage the overall business. Right? It was very difficult to do that in Business Central before, to create a subscription type functionality without doing a lot of enhancements.
Mm.
Right? Because out of the box, recurring invoicing really didn't cut it very well, because there's some specific financial regulations around the way you need to properly journalize your revenue or recognize your revenue, realize your revenue. That wasn't really supported outside of customizations. And now with the addition of this new subscription management module, that's just going to blow the doors open for new for a whole new industry, like I mentioned. um, that's great for partners, right? At the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
because they sell more licenses, they sell more services, and Business Central shows it's a meaningful product,
Mm-hmm.
in a brand new vertical.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting to hear because that's kind of an unaddressed area. I can see that working for, as you
Hmm.
said, like landscape business where you're probably a little bit too big for QuickBooks. You got too many
Hmm.
things going on. There's too much kind of inventory. Well, you would have inventory, I guess, as a landscaper, and
Yep.
maybe you want to track these kind of things as you're growing. Maybe you've got a dozen people working for you, then this would be
Yep.
a brilliant module for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, think about it. Like you get Business Central that has a subscription billing, and then you just need a fleet management system, maybe, or something along those lines to help manage your trucks, and
Mm.
or do like field service to dispatch your resources to go to different job sites to do the actual work, right? And then you might just need some, rental capabilities or equipment management capabilities to see where your lawnmowers are and different tools and equipment you use to support the business. It could be a full vertical right there.
Yeah.
That could all be, get away from QuickBooks because you're kind of crossing the $5 million, the $10 million mark in revenue, and you need something substantial because now you have an office of like 3, 4 other people, right? That are in charge of doing bills, collecting, right, putting in orders potentially, and your field service techs are out there just doing the work out there, and you need to integrate, bring all that data into a single system. It's like Business Central is like, in that conversation now.
Yeah.
You know,
Good. I want to move on to something you touched upon at the start. This thing about agents. So
yeah,
this sounds interesting because this is a blend of new features built from the ground up using AI. We've
yeah,
always seen AI as more of a complementary thing. In its original fashion, it was just ask a question of your data. Then we started to see more use cases in document recognition that was beyond simple OCR. Now we're talking about something that's been created from day one using AI. So, what is this agents? How does this work, and where do you see it?
yeah. These agents, autonomous agents. The example that Microsoft showed was a sales order agent. It sits inside Business Central and it receives requests, right? And the request could come from like a shared mailbox for customers sending emails. Okay. Customers send an email, and that agent realizes that this email is for a new order. It immediately grabs that order and sucks it into Business Central, scans through the email, product, price, quantity, units of measure, and it could also pick up requests if there's certain um, custom fields that you've added to Business Central. Like let's say
Okay.
uh, the agent gets a email, sucks as an email that says, "I want you to gift wrap the order for me," and gift wrap is a custom field, but it'll automatically mark that field as true or false or whatever you have that field property set to based on that email that came in. So as soon as that happens, it creates an audit saying email received, here's the order details, and it creates a sales order right then and there. Like it's just running. Like you don't have anyone there saying, okay, let's get a printout, let's put in the order manually, right? Here's the email, or let's create a job queue and we need to integrate. We take this email, send it to the job queue, and then write a bunch of code, and then OCR that email into a sales order. Right? None of that, right? Um, that order comes in and becomes a quote or gets converted to a sales order. These agents are designed to create automation. And Microsoft's vision around agents is where you could take an agent, not just on the sales order side, on the vendor purchasing side, right? When you get requests back, then here the vendor sends you an email back saying, "Oh, we updated our due date to 2 weeks later because we don't have material." Well, that date will come in. You go and update that purchase order, which will help planning now to say, "Hey, this purchase order is going to be late." Now, when planning knows that purchase order is late, they can now start reacting to how to adjust the rest of the schedule for them. So it removes a lot of that data entry, right? Agents and onboarding. Let's say if you're a franchise and you need to, when you get a new franchise on and you just set up Business Central, well, an agent could do that for you. You just go ahead and put in some key values, and the agent could go there and create that whole thing for you. Here's a cool thing, actually, that that Microsoft showed is that agents could also be used for approval. So, say
Okay.
you're not in the office and you're telling the agent, you have your own agent, and you've told it that, hey, when I'm not in the office, any orders under $1,000, just go ahead and auto approve those. Versus, right, you having to
Yeah, I
delegate
see.
that to somebody else, or those orders just sitting there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
right? So agents is going to have a bigger role in Business Central, I feel like.
So is this a feature or is this going to be a module that you can buy? Have
I
they
think,
said how it's going to be
yeah,
priced
I
or?
think it's going to be integrated. So it's going to be a feature because all you need to do is link a mailbox and you
Right.
activate, and then you activate it.
Okay.
Okay. Then it starts learning, right? Starts learning. And then, maybe the first 4 or 5 times it may identify, okay, well, I can't find X, Y, and Z information. Well, as it learns and you tell like, well, this is where it is. This is what the information looks like when it comes in from the email. It'll just know how to map that over.
Hmm. I like this. I think
So
this is going to be really powerful, especially for um, smaller businesses that might not have teams of procurement people. You might just have a purchaser, and not only are they responsible for the day-to-day raising of purchase orders, the day-to-day shuffling of dates as vendors email, and give you revised due dates, but they also have to do pricing negotiation. They also have to leverage competitors against each other to maybe get a uh, better service or better
mhm,
price. That's difficult to juggle. There's the kind of the high level strategy and then bogged down with the day to day stuff.
right,
This is a perfect opportunity to automate that day to day drudgery of shifting dates around, uh,
yeah,
you know, raising regular purchase orders that could be just automated.
yeah,
And same on the sales side. You might have one salesperson, might be an external salesman that has to then spend his evening drawing up all of the quotes that he'd done during the day or converting them all onto sales orders or
right,
even sending down the shipments to, yeah, sending to the warehouse
hmm
all of the shipments,
hmm
as well as doing negotiation of contracts with potential new customers.
right,
That's difficult to do, and it's tiring to have to
hmm
think of those two things, like the high level negotiations and then all of the boring admin.
yeah,
So to leverage Copilot for doing that is really cool. I
hmm
like this.
yeah, yeah, and that's what they're saying is these agents are supposed to give you ROI very, very quickly
Hmm.
in your ERP. Because now think about it, like these agents are handling data entry.
Yep.
Now your team, you could repurpose them to actually do customer service work,
Yep.
right? Really be talking to the customers, right? Following up on, cross-selling potentially, or, letting them know maybe orders are coming late, right? So you increase that customer satisfaction. So I think it's a huge step in the right direction.
Yep.
It was unveiled here this past week. Everyone was, well, I think everyone's jaw dropped to the ground. And it was like, wow, what did we just witness? And they did this whole demo. They did the whole demo out there in front of us during the keynote. But that was, I think, a huge step forward. Again,
Yep.
automation, 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 automation.
Yep. Yep. And I guess businesses that do have teams and teams of procurement people doing admin, there's
Yeah,
cost reductions.
yeah,
I guess that's what they're kind of meaning,
yeah, right,
definitely with the immediate ROI.
right away. Yep, exactly. And think about this. Microsoft kind of holds the keys to the AI world. I mean, they
Hmm.
own Copilot, right? They own ChatGTP,
Hmm.
so they're like cutting edge in this stuff because they had this vision of when they bought OpenAI, and now you can see this integration really taking off. This investment that they made in that is quickly coming to that software application versus other ERPs are not moving this fast in the AI world. They're not
Yep.
moving this fast at all.
Yep.
Um, they're still trying to figure out their machine language. They're trying to create their own models and all that. But kind of Microsoft, owns still they have the keys to the kingdom right now. So they're trying to come first to market in this whole Copilot space and really get out there. Um, and by the time when the dust settles, they're going to be fully stable while these other ERPs are starting to come
Hmm.
on and getting access to that
Yep.
those AI databases. So I think it's really cool.
Yep, and I think that that's going to be the case for a long time, because it's exactly the same in the AI world. Everyone's trying to catch up to OpenAI.
Yeah.
I know you have Google Bard and Amazon are doing something now, finally,
Hmm.
but everyone else is catching up. Um, but OpenAI is definitely at the forefront.
Yeah.
And when Microsoft invested heavily, $10 billion dropped onto the table.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's no surprise that they're where they are this
Hmm.
quickly, and
Hmm.
everyone else is just so far behind.
Hmm.
I think it's not that everyone else is far behind. I think it's just that Microsoft is so far in front.
Yeah. Seriously. Seriously. Absolutely. They are so far in front right now. And I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger in the Microsoft ERP space. I would be interested
Mm-hmm.
to see, because this is a Business Central conference primarily, how F&O, how much Copilot F&O has. I don't know. That'd be an interesting question. Maybe we'll
Yep.
try to get somebody on from F&O on one of our next chats and see, what their take is on Copilot.
I wonder what Microsoft are going to do over the next like 10 years. Is the Business Central just going to be the ERP by Microsoft? It's going to be modular, and you can kind of build it, build a version of F&O, but it is Business Central.
Right.
I wonder if they're just going to go down that route,
I mean,
because they've
because,
dropped a few off, haven't they? Like
yeah, because,
GP's done.
yeah, GP's done. But yeah, I think, that line before, there was a very fine line. F&O, NAV, or AX and NAV. Like, you knew, right?
Hmm.
You knew the differences. Like, you're either going to go this way or this way.
Hmm.
It's getting kind of like muddy now. Like, you can't really tell. Like, do you really need to do F&O? I mean, Business Central could do that, right? There's maybe like three or four main reasons why you want to go on the F&O side. All right, obviously, if you're enterprise, Fortune 500, Fortune 1000, maybe not. But really, I think that line between F&O and Business Central is not as clear anymore. It's not as cut and dry.
Hmm.
So time will tell, right? What's it going to
Yeah.
be? What's it going to look like down the road? Because these ERPs could handle it. This small, Business Central could handle a lot of what F&O was known for.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Although we are talking about Microsoft, and they are known for having solutions that overlap all over
Yeah,
the place.
yeah,
You've only got to look at Microsoft Fabric for that, and there's people screaming like, "Why is there a data warehouse and a lakehouse? Like they almost do exactly the
Dataverse.
same
Yeah,
things,
Dataverse
apart
and
from a
Data Lake.
couple of kind of T-SQL endpoint stuff. But then they put that also in lakehouse. Like it's the same product. Just
Yeah,
kill one and just call it,
yeah,
the
yeah.
one lakehouse product, and just use the bits that you want to use, and that's it. And don't
Well,
touch the
it's
rest.
it's like buying shoes, Peter. You could like blue or you could like pink. So you get a chance to choose what color you want. They're the same damn thing, and you put them on your, you put them on your foot, and you start walking or you run for them, one with
Yeah,
them. But
that's true. But then I'm only ever going to have one ERP for my business.
Microsoft loves licenses, so they'll,
Yeah.
they'll take all that license money as much as they can get. Out there, but they're making a really, really strong product, which is nice to see. Another thing that came out, Directions EMEA, is an attention to the lack of reports, out of the box reports in Business Central.
Hmm.
So they showed a strong Power BI integration. So they've created canned Power BI reports now that's delivered with every BC instance. So there's just like a ton of
Right.
sales reports, manufacturing reports, inventory reports. So they have this whole reports explorer that's been out for a little bit, but they've just been adding to it. So the
Right.
reporting capability is getting stronger, which is nice to see, because BC's kind of, NAV's always lacked in that area a little bit. Reports weren't very clear; they're very kind of like ugly looking, and um, depending on how much data you had, it took a lot of time to run, and all that
Oh
type of
yeah.
stuff. So they've done a lot of work around that, and I don't have a list of how many new reports they've created, but it's over a dozen, I think, new reports that got added, were primarily like BI reports and stuff like that. That will basically
Right.
launch a BI reader inside BC when you run that report.
Okay. I was about to ask how that works. Is this just
Mhm.
embedded Power BI reports, or
Mhm.
as part of the implementation, do they set up a Power BI workspace?
Nope, nope, nope. It just opens up a
So
reader.
sort of viewer thing,
Yeah,
right?
viewer thing. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So
interesting.
that was pretty neat to see that they're expanding the scope of the reporting. Um,
Hmm.
I attended a manufacturing roundtable Friday, like one of the last sessions, and it was cool because we were talking about new reports on the manufacturing side that they want to introduce on Business Central. So they're getting suggestions on a brand new job card, which I think is needed desperately because a current out of the box job card can't even use it. Um, really out of the box. So they're going to change that. They're changing the subcontracting functionality. So there's new features and functionality coming with subcontracting functionality. Um, they're coming out with overpicking, but it's not over consuming. It's overpicking, and you return the rest back to stock.
Right.
But you can't
Okay.
over consume. You could pick more, but you still just got to use what was on the pick, and it will return back to stock what wasn't used.
Good. That
Uh,
sounds logical.
but the conversation went further. People would like overpicking and over consuming. So they want to be able to post an overconsumption after the pick is processed. That posting part is not there yet. So heading in the right direction, though. I like where their thought process is there. Um, they're looking at um, being able to, what was that? They talked about some real small changes like adding a field here, adding a field there, which is always common on the manufacturing side. But
Hmm.
that was nice to see that they're also focused on the manufacturing side because manufacturing really hasn't been updated for like decades, I think. Besides a few small changes here and there, I think the last one they did was last year. They introduced this new pick inquiry. So if you had directed pick put away and pick turned on, and you're creating a pick, you had a chance to review the inventory details before the pick got generated. So it'll tell you how much you had on reservation, how much you had on stock, what other orders were gonna take up that inventory, which is a nice view. It's pretty comprehensive.
Hmm.
But that was like the last thing that I remember that they did was more groundbreaking. But other than that, this conversation Friday was nice to hear that they're doing more and more work into it because it's time. It's about time now.
Hmm.
Um,
Yep.
going with the reports theme,
Yep.
we had a pretty cool demo of using themable layouts. So the example that was given is, let's say your boss comes to you and says, "Hey, I want our invoices during Christmas to go out with the Christmas watermark."
A little logo Santa and thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I see it.
Yeah. And so now you could use Microsoft Paint. By the way, Paint has Copilot, FYI, just so you know.
Does it?
Yeah.
What
Microsoft,
now? In Windows 11?
yeah. Paint has Copilot. I didn't even know that.
I'm opening up Paint now. Go
Yeah.
on, keep talking. I'm having a
Yeah.
look at Paint.
So Paint has Copilot. So he created this like drawing on Paint with Copilot, and then he inserted that drawing, opened up Microsoft Word, picked up a Christmas theme document, inserted that Paint image to Microsoft Word, and then took that themable Word doc and essentially sucked it into Business Central. So when invoices got generated, it had this like Christmas theme invoice that got spit out. I
I
was like,
love it.
wow, that's interesting.
That's impressive. Okay.
Which part that Paint had Copilot or the themable?
Well, yeah, I'm still trying to get over that. Um, of all the things, like we've just said that they're like building from the ground up agents, and then it's like, yes, let's just do a pretty theme in Paint
Yeah.
using Copilot.
So that was pretty cool. I could see some customers liking that,
Hmm.
in those seasonality type businesses. kind of rounding it out, there was probably a number of these ones that I thought could have been, also top, but I just kind of decided to put on the bottom of my list here. Goes without saying, Microsoft is investing heavily in security and auto tracking capabilities, so you're going to see more functionality around that. Not to say that I kept it low on my list purposely, but kind of like you expect that, right? If you're on the
Yeah.
cloud. And Microsoft is giving promos for companies that are still on premise to move to the cloud.
Good.
They're extending the time window to schedule your update. And this is what I'm referring to. Is
Okay.
Microsoft has those two major updates per year, right, in April and October. So I think they're extending it out even further. Right now, it's I think like 3 months or so. Now you could do it up to maybe up to 6 months, I believe. Don't quote me on it. I'll get the right number. We'll put it on our actual feed, our comments when I research it. But yeah, they're extending that out, which is I think really nice, especially those customers that are pretty heavily customized. They can't just flip and go to a new version by force by Microsoft within like 3 months.
Why do you
And
think Microsoft are doing that? Because they're not responsible for any customization.
no, they're not. They're not. But
So
they
why
get
would?
enough. They get enough partners that scream in their ear. Like, why
Okay.
can't we? Why can't we extend this? Because they need more time to test.
Fair enough.
um, and the kind of last one I have on my list is priorities for job queues, which is I like this one because right now you can't. It's hard to schedule job queues unless you like schedule by time. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now there's a priority you can put a number on, so it actually will look at the priority and schedule and run that before another one.
Right.
So
Okay.
so that's cool. I think that could help a lot of customers. The priority and job queues. So because like for example, we have a customer that has like 15 or 20 job queues that run during the day, day
Yeah.
and night, because they run 3 shifts. So right now we kind of split it up based on time, but with this priority field now, we could ensure now for sure that there's not going to be another job queue that runs at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And lock up the tables, because that was a big issue, is locking up a lot of tables. Um, so they kind of brought this out. They're also um, again, goes without saying, they're also optimizing databases to ensure there's not a lot of warehouse tables that lock on the warehousing side, GL side, right? They're
Hmm.
cleaning all that up, but it's no longer where Business Central is not stable. I think what I heard this Directions EMEA was all positive. Um, Microsoft's executive team is super smart. They see the vision. They see the market's just going crazy for Business Central. Partners are doing a great job of implementing Business Central, learning the product, um, and making investments. Where Microsoft's making investments, like I think this whole AI Copilot agents, partners are going to start eating this up and start creating tools
Yeah.
for Copilot and agents really, really soon. So it was, we're going to see a new world of ERP, new world of automation
Yeah.
moving forward. So it's just a starting point. Really, we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm not surprised with the speed of advancements in AI either, because we know fundamentally that an ERP is probably the best place for good data, because it's like underneath is the database that you can't really change, and it's all connected, and you can't really manipulate fields that you shouldn't manipulate. So I really see, like, we know that AI is only as good as the data you feed it,
Yeah.
and your best data is probably sitting in your ERP,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to trying to chuck random Excel spreadsheets and
Right.
large amounts of email threads at an AI and expecting it to be able to interpret and have any value. Whereas if it's embedded into your ERP, where you've got that structure, where you've got those set modules, that's the best playground for AI to really dig into the data and find the insights. And so it's no surprise that it's been such a rapid development for Copilot, because it's got a known environment, and especially when it's not like it's just Microsoft using an AI service. it's their own AIs within their own teams of
Literally.
developers. So it's
Yeah.
the same people, it's the same kind of Business Central teams that know Business Central that also now know Copilot and OpenAI and what they've done and what Microsoft are doing.
Mhm.
It's very much a force to be reckoned with, and
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a serious challenge
Yeah.
for the likes of other ERP,
Yeah.
other ERP like Epicor and IFS. Like, what are they going to do?
Yeah. Right.
Genuinely, how are they going to catch up with this?
Yeah, I know. It has to be kind of scary for them. One thing that I wish that Microsoft focused on a little bit on that I didn't hear this time around is like the mobile app. It was more about the web client and the changes, but I think we need to get the more functionality here as well, because I think there's a lot of play efficiencies that we could be doing with the cell phone as well. Different type of transactions instead of having to be on a computer all day. Maybe
Mm.
that's coming. Maybe that's something that they're looking at. I think that's a huge game changer in the warehousing side. If Microsoft starts investing there with AI, with agents, right? I think that'll be pretty cool. Especially maybe something around CRM, where you have outside sales teams using more of their phone, right?
Yeah,
GPS tracking and all this stuff. So I think it's all in due time.
yeah,
Just laying down the foundation right now. But it was really really cool to see um, everything that Microsoft is doing with Business Central.
yeah. Maybe their kind of strategy is to get the stuff um, that locks people to a desk
Yep.
now done by Copilot.
Right.
Um, and then once that's kind of settled down in the next like 3 to 5 years, then we can concentrate on. Now we've released the warehouse and we've released the shop floor, um, because now AI is handling those kind of process flows. Then maybe that's when they'll start turning their attention to
Yeah.
um, the mobile side of things.
Yeah. Possibly. But I would love to do more kind of research and see what type of apps are out there now that are backed by Copilot, and evaluate them, and maybe we could share those with our viewers, and see how they're operating in the Business Central role, because a lot of partners, I think every partner has to embrace it, because if you don't, I think you're just going to be left in the dust.
Yep. It's like you're a converted person. Like you spent 3 days listening, 3 or 5 days listening to Microsoft bang on about Copilot. You're like, ah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was like, you know what? I don't even want to speak regular English anymore. I just want natural language. How do I just communicate in natural language, which is the way I need to communicate with Copilot?
You're thinking in prompts now
In prompts
rather
now, yeah.
than
I just want to think
English.
in prompts. I just want to think in prompts now.
So a worthwhile trip.
It was good. It was good, and now I'm sightseeing in beautiful Vienna. Went to the Opera
Nice.
House, went to St. Stephen's Cathedral, um, and just walking around. It's a beautiful city, especially now. It's Christmas time close to, so they have lights up everywhere, which is really cool. Looks amazing. It's crowded. A lot of people here right now too. Still a lot of tourists. A lot of tourists here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to enjoying the next couple days, and then I fly back to Chicago. Kind of sad. Fly back to Chicago.
What have you got planned over the next couple of days and your last days in Austria?
Yeah, well, gonna walk around tonight, and tomorrow I'm going on the other side of the country. I'm going to Gostich,
Okay.
visiting a customer. Take an 8-hour train ride.
Wow.
So that'll be fun. It's gonna take us to the Alps and stuff. So
Oh,
to
nice.
see some different scenery out there, and then customer visit. And back on a plane. Back on a plane Tuesday morning. Back to Chicago. So
Nice. So it'll be a Tuesday afternoon, and Austria will feel like such a long memory.
yeah, I know. And it was great. Next year, Directions EMEA is in Poland, though, so
Nice.
we will be
Well,
back. We will be there, and we will report back on all new things that Microsoft is going to be coming out with in Directions EMEA 2025.
yep. So we should already write down 50,000 customers, More things co-piloted. What else? Everyone else is losing their jobs. This
Yeah,
co-pilot is just handling everything.
yeah, yeah. No, they're not losing their jobs. They're going to be
A
more
slave to co-pilot.
value added to their job.
Oh, that's it. That's
Yes,
the right term.
that's the word.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Okay,
You
good.
know. Now they're actually do their jobs, not just data entry specialists.
Yeah, true. True.
You know, because I don't remember the last time where I took a job. I'm going to be a planner, but all I'm doing is creating production orders, like manual production orders,
That's
instead
my
of
dream.
managing.
Yeah.
Instead of
I just want
managing
to
a
sit
production
down and
floor.
do a load of admin all day long.
Our machine is down over here. Can you hold on a second? I put in these 25 new production orders. Give me a second.
Good. Thank you very much. Until next time, I will see you in a couple of weeks' time for the next episode.
Absolutely.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.